In today's video, we'll take a look at the Mercusys MW330HP Router settings. We'll try to discuss and show you each option one by one, explaining how every feature works and what functions you can control through each setting. First of all, we'll start with the quick setup. On the top left side of your screen, you can see a quick setup option. We'll click on that now to begin. At the very beginning, you can see an option called Internet Connection Auto Detect. If your connection type is dynamic IP, then you can configure your internet automatically using this option. No manual setup is required. So, let's click on it first and check whether our connection works with this setting or not. If you're connecting one router to another and this router is acting as a client router, then this option will work, and you'll be able to use it in that case. However, in most situations, ISPs don't use this option for internet connections. If your ISP provides a static internet connection, they will give you 4 essential network credentials. You'll need to enter those details here, and once you click Next, your internet connection should start working. Remember, all the required information, such as the IP address, subnet mask, DNS, and gateway, will be provided by your ISP. Make sure to enter them accurately so that your connection can function smoothly without any issues. If your ISP uses a PPPoE, point-to-point protocol over Ethernet, connection, then your ISP will provide you with a username and password. You'll need to enter these credentials in the PPPoE setup fields. Once you've entered the correct username and password, click Next, and your router will automatically establish the internet connection. Make sure the login details are typed exactly as given by your ISP. Even a small mistake can prevent the connection from working properly. If your ISP uses an L2TP, Layer 2 Tunneling Protocol, connection, you'll need to enter several details provided by your ISP, including your username, password, and the server address. Once you've filled in this information, click Next to establish the connection. Make sure all credentials, especially the server address, are entered correctly, as any mistake can prevent the router from connecting to the internet properly. If your ISP uses an L2TP, Layer 2 Tunneling Protocol, connection, you'll need to enter several details provided by your ISP, including your username, password, and the server address. Once you've filled in this information, click Next to establish the connection. Make sure all credentials, especially the server address, are entered correctly, as any mistake can prevent the router from connecting to the internet properly. If your ISP requires a MAC address clone, it means your internet connection is locked to a specific device's MAC address, usually your old router or computer. In that case, you can use the MAC address clone feature to copy the MAC address of your previous device to the new router. Simply click Clone MAC address, then click Save or Next. This allows your ISP to recognize the new router as the old one, ensuring your internet connection works without any interruption. Next, as you proceed by clicking Next, the router will prompt you to configure the Wi-Fi settings. Here, you can set up only the 2.4 GHz network. You'll be asked to choose your Wi-Fi name, SSID, and Wi-Fi password. Once you've entered these, simply click Apply, and your 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi network will be ready to use. Now, we can see that our router setup is complete, and a QR code appears on the screen. You can either save this QR code or scan it later to quickly connect other devices to your Wi-Fi network. Below that, you'll also find options to download the router's mobile app from the App Store or Google Play Store. Simply install the app on your smartphone. From there, you can also manage and configure your router easily at any time. Now, at the top, you can see an option marked with a small globe icon. From here, you can change the router's language if you want. There are a few additional language options available, about 4 different languages, so if you prefer using any of them, you can easily switch to your desired language from this menu. At the top center, you'll see an option called Change Mode. When you click on it, a new window will open showing 4 different operation modes. The first one is the router mode, which we're currently using. Next is the access point mode, followed by the range extender mode, and finally the wireless ISP mode. You can try each of these modes one by one to see how they work, depending on your network setup and usage needs. Router's homepage, where you'll find the network map section. At the top of the network map, you'll see a globe icon representing the internet, with the label Internet Status below it. Next to that, you'll find the connection type, which shows what kind of internet connection your router is currently using. Below that, it displays the one MAC address and the internal IP address. Since I'm showing this on a demo setup, all the details here are for demonstration purposes, but on your system, these will display real data. Next, you'll notice a router icon, which shows the model number of your router. Beside it, there's a client icon, showing the connected devices. Now, let's click on the router icon to see what information we can find there. Under the router information section, the first thing you'll see is the device name, which shows the current name of your router. Next to that, you'll find the MAC address, followed by the IPv4 LAN IP address, and then the IPv6 address. Below that, there's a section called Wireless, where you can view details about your 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi network, including the network name, SSID, password, and channel information. This area also shows the wireless status, along with an ON/OFF switch and an edit button on the top right side. Scrolling further down, you'll see the guest network section, which includes a toggle to enable or disable guest Wi-Fi, a wireless name field, and another edit button to customize its settings. At the very bottom, there's the Ethernet status section, displaying icons for the 4 LAN ports. You can see which ports are active. For example, one port might show 100 megabits per second full duplex. Now, if we scroll back up and click on the client icon, you'll see a list of all connected devices. From there, you can edit the device name or even block a device directly if you don't want it to access your network. At the beginning of this video, we already showed you the internet connection settings inside the quick setup section, where we explained how to configure your router with your ISP or connect one router to another in client mode using a dynamic IP connection. Now, if you ever need to connect your router to a new ISP, you don't need to reset the router. You can simply come back to this section and edit the connection settings. However, you'll need to know which connection type your new ISP uses, whether it's dynamic, static, PPPoE, L2TP, or PPTP, and then configure it accordingly. If you'd like to understand these settings in more detail, you can re-watch the first part of this video, where each of these connection modes has been explained more thoroughly. If your ISP uses MAC binding, meaning your internet connection is locked to a specific device's MAC address, such as your old router or computer, then you'll need to use the MAC clone feature. By using this option, you can copy the MAC address from your previous device to your new router so that your ISP recognizes it as the same device. To do this, simply click on MAC clone, then select Apply or Save. This helps your new router connect to the internet without needing to contact your ISP for reactivation or configuration changes. One of the most important sections of any router is the wireless setup. Now, let's go through this section in detail. At the very beginning, you can see that the router is broadcasting on the 2.4 GHz frequency band. At the top, there's an Enable button. By toggling this, you can turn your Wi-Fi signal on or off. Next, there's a Sharing Network option. When you click on it, a QR code will appear, which allows you to easily share your Wi-Fi network with other devices by simply scanning the code. Below that, you'll find the Network Name, SSID, section, where you can see the current name of your Wi-Fi network. There's also a Hide SSID option. Enabling this will hide your network name from public visibility, so only your previously connected devices will connect automatically. Then comes the Security section, which lets you choose your Wi-Fi security mode. It's recommended to select the most secure option available, like WPA2 or WPA3. Finally, there's the password field. Make sure to set a strong and unique password here to keep your network safe from unauthorized access. One of the most important sections of any router is the wireless setup. Now, let's go through this section in detail. At the very beginning, you can see that the router is broadcasting on the 2.4 GHz frequency band. At the top, there's an Enable button. By toggling this, you can turn your Wi-Fi signal on or off. Next, there's a Sharing Network option. When you click on it, a QR code will appear, which allows you to easily share your Wi-Fi network with other devices by simply scanning the code. Below that, you'll find the Network Name, SSID, section, where you can see the current name of your Wi-Fi network. There's also a Hide SSID option. Enabling this will hide your network name from public visibility, so only your previously connected devices will connect automatically. Then comes the Security section, which lets you choose your Wi-Fi security mode. It's recommended to select the most secure option available, like WPA2 or WPA3. Finally, there's the password field. Make sure to set a strong and unique password here to keep your network safe from unauthorized access. Let's talk about router mode and access point mode, two of the most commonly used modes in most routers. 1. Router mode. This is the default mode of your device. In router mode, the device connects directly to your ISP through the WAN port and creates a private network for all connected devices. It handles important network functions like assigning IP addresses via DHCP, managing firewall and NAT, sharing the internet connection among all devices. Use this mode when your router is the main device connected to your internet line, e.g., directly connected to your ISP modem or cable. 2. Access point mode. In access point mode, the router does not manage the network. Instead, it acts as a Wi-Fi extender or network bridge. It receives an internet connection from another router, usually through a LAN cable, and extends the same network to cover a wider area with better Wi-Fi coverage. In this mode, the main router still assigns IP addresses. The access point only provides wireless access to the existing network. It's best used when you already have a primary router and want to expand your Wi-Fi range or improve signal coverage in another area. In short, white heavy checkmark router mode for main internet connection setup. White heavy checkmark access point mode for expanding your existing Wi-Fi network. Next section is network, and when you enter it, the first option you'll see is status. Under status, the first item is internet, showing whether your connection is active. It also displays the connection type and the connection time. Since I'm using a demo device, the IPs here show as all zeros, but on your router, you'll see real IP addresses. If you want to use a different DNS, you can change the DNS settings under Internet Settings. Next is LAN status, where you can see the MAC address and subnet mask of the router. If you use IPTV, there's an option here to configure it. Then comes DHCP server status, which shows whether the DHCP server is enabled or disabled, and the IP address pool, indicating the range of IPs assigned to your connected devices. Finally, there's Dynamic DNS, DDNS. If you're using a dynamic DNS service, its status will be displayed here. Here, under the Internet section, you'll find the Internet settings again. This is basically the second place where these options appear. These are the same settings we saw earlier in the quick setup, but here you can edit or adjust them as needed. Additionally, you'll find some advanced options in this section, such as DNS setup, which you can configure according to your preferences. Inside the LAN option, you can see the LAN MAC address and the IP address of your router. You can change this IP address if needed. This is referred to as the local IP address. From the drop-down menu, you can also view and modify the subnet mask, adjusting the network range for your connected devices as required. In the IPTV VLAN section, if your service provider supports IPTV and lists it in the router's drop-down menu, you can enable the service here. This option allows you to use the router's LAN ports as a switch for IPTV, but to configure it properly, you need to edit the settings carefully and have some knowledge of advanced routing. Below that is the multicast section, where you can select how multicast traffic is handled. You can choose the IGMP version to use or leave it in auto mode, allowing the router to manage the settings automatically. Inside the DHCP server option, the first thing you'll notice is an orange enable checkbox. You can uncheck this to disable the DHCP server if needed. Next, you'll see the IP address pool, where you can view or modify the IP range assigned to connected devices. You can either adjust the range or completely change the IP addresses if you need a different network setup. Below that is the lease time option, which you can edit to set how long an IP address is assigned to a device. Additionally, you can change the default gateway and primary DNS. If you prefer to use a custom DNS, you can configure it here as well, allowing you to use your own preferred DNS servers for the network. Address reservation. Sometimes, when you use network-attached devices or network-attached storage (NAS), you need to assign them a fixed IP address so they can always be reached at the same address. This is where address reservation comes in. On this router, it's very easy to enable or disable, modify, or delete reserved IPs, ensuring your devices always have the same IP for reliable network access. The DHCP client list shows all devices currently connected to your router. Here, you can see the device names, their MAC addresses, the IP addresses assigned to them, how long each device has been connected to the router. This allows you to monitor and manage all devices on your network easily. If you want to connect your router to a dynamic DNS, DDNS service, this router supports two service providers, DYN-DNS and no IP. You can simply log in with your username and password for the selected service, and this allows you to easily use dynamic DNS to access your network remotely without needing a fixed IP address. Static routing allows you to manually define specific routes for your network traffic. You enter a destination IP, subnet mask, and gateway so the router knows exactly where to send packets. This is useful for fixed network paths, connecting multiple subnets, or advanced network setups. The routing table is a list of all routes that your router knows. It shows destination networks, subnet masks, gateways, and the interface used to reach them. The router uses this table to decide where to send incoming and outgoing packets. Under Advanced Wireless Settings, for the fourth time, you'll find the Wireless Settings option on this router. Here, you have more customization options, allowing you to optimize your Wi-Fi for the best performance. Make sure the options marked High remain set to High. Keep the channel width set to Auto. Wherever possible, leave the channel selection on Auto as well. By configuring your Wi-Fi in this way, following the recommended settings, your network will likely achieve the best possible optimization and performance. Just like before, you'll also find a guest Wi-Fi option here. The settings are the same as we discussed earlier, so there's no need to go over them again. You can use the same configurations as before, or edit them here if you want to make changes. Wireless schedule option. This feature can be very useful in certain situations, such as in a workstation, office, school, or university, where Wi-Fi is only needed during specific hours. For example, just like a shop, school, or university closes at certain times, you can schedule your Wi-Fi to turn off when it's not needed. This helps prevent device misuse and allows your equipment to rest. You can set the schedule so that Wi-Fi is on only during the hours you need it, and automatically off at other times. Using this feature helps keep your router healthy and ensures efficient network usage. WPS, or Wi-Fi Protected Setup, lets you connect devices using a PIN. Personally, I recommend turning it off. When WPS is enabled, some Android apps can try to extract the PIN and gain access to your router. That makes your network much more vulnerable to being hacked. To stay safe, disable WPS and use a strong Wi-Fi password instead. The additional wireless settings on a Mercusys MW330HP Router. WMM, Wi-Fi Multimedia optimizes the network for audio, video, and voice traffic, ensuring smoother streaming and calls. Short GI, guard interval slightly increases Wi-Fi speed by shortening the signal interval between transmissions. AP isolation, prevents devices from communicating with each other on the same network, useful for guest networks. Beacon interval, determines the time between Wi-Fi signal broadcasts, default 100 milliseconds. Lower values mean faster detection but generate more traffic. RTS threshold, controls when the router sends a request to send before transmitting data. Default 2346 basically disables it. DTM interval, sets how often broadcast data is sent to sleeping devices. Lower values make devices more responsive. Group key update period, defines how often the encryption key is refreshed. 0 means it never changes automatically. These options let you fine-tune your Wi-Fi performance and security, especially in busy networks or for specific use cases like streaming or guest access. Port forwarding is a network feature that tells your router which external traffic should be sent to a specific internal device or service. It's commonly used for game servers, video streaming, CCTV, or web servers. You specify a port number and the IP address of the device inside your network. When an external device tries to connect to that port, the router forwards the traffic to the designated device. In short, it's a way to direct incoming network traffic to a specific device on your local network. Port triggering is similar to port forwarding but works dynamically. Instead of permanently opening a port, the router opens a specific port only when your device initiates a connection on a trigger port. Once the session ends, the port automatically closes, which improves security. It's often used for online gaming, chat applications, or certain streaming services that require temporary port access. In short, port triggering opens ports on demand instead of keeping them always open like port forwarding. UPnP, Universal Plug and Play, is a network feature that allows devices on your network to automatically discover and communicate with each other. It helps applications like gaming consoles, media servers, and VoIP apps to open ports automatically without manual configuration. While it makes connectivity easier and more convenient, leaving UPnP enabled can pose security risks, as malicious applications might also open ports without your knowledge. In short, UPnP simplifies network setup but should be used carefully. DMZ, Demilitarized Zone, is a network feature that exposes a specific device on your local network directly to the internet. All incoming traffic that isn't blocked by firewall rules is sent to the DMZ host device. It's commonly used for gaming consoles, servers, or testing devices that need full external access. Warning: placing a device in DMZ bypasses most of the router security, so the device is more vulnerable to attacks. In short, DMZ gives one device full internet access while keeping the rest of your network protected. This router also has a parental control feature. Here's how it works. First, select your time zone. Click the Add button on the right side and give the profile a name, e.g., your child's device or channel name. Enter the content or websites you want to block. Set the schedule for blocking, for example, select bedtime or school night to restrict access during certain hours. You can also set good night hours, e.g., Sunday to Thursday, when the internet will automatically turn off. Later, set good morning hours so the internet automatically resumes in the morning. This way, you can easily create a custom parental control profile to manage internet access for children or specific devices. The QoS, quality of service, feature on this router is very useful and interesting. It allows you to control the speed of connected devices on your network. For example, in a home network, you can limit bandwidth for certain devices that don't need much speed, like multimedia appliances, fridge, washing machine, or even a child's mobile device. You can monitor real-time usage, see how long devices have been active, and customize priority for each device. Additionally, you can set bandwidth limits to ensure that critical devices or applications get enough speed while less important devices use less. In short, CoS helps you manage your network efficiently and fairly, making sure essential devices get priority without interruptions. Firewall section under Security helps protect your network from unauthorized access. SPI Firewall monitors data packets to block harmful traffic. Respond to pings from LAN allows or blocks ping requests from local devices. Respond to pings from WAN allows or blocks ping requests from the internet for extra security. Access Control is a router feature that lets you manage which devices can connect to your network. You can allow or block specific devices using their MAC addresses. It helps in securing your network by preventing unauthorized devices from connecting. Some routers also let you schedule access, so certain devices can only connect at specific times. In short, Access Control gives you full control over who can use your Wi-Fi and when. IP and MAC binding is a router feature that links a device's IP address to its MAC address. This ensures that a specific device always gets the same IP address from the router. It improves network stability and security, as only the bound device can use that IP. Useful for servers, NAS devices, or any device that needs a fixed IP for port forwarding or consistent access. In short, IP and MAC binding guarantees consistent IP assignment and prevents IP spoofing. ALG, Application Layer Gateway, is a router feature that helps certain applications work properly through NAT, Network Address Translation. It modifies network traffic for specific protocols like FTP, SIP, VoIP, or PPTP, so they can pass through the router without issues. ALG ensures that these applications connect smoothly even when the router is using NAT. Sometimes, it may need to be disabled if it causes connection problems with certain apps. In short, ALG helps specific applications communicate correctly through your router. This router supports IPv6, so if your ISP provides an IPv6 connection, you can easily configure it here. There are two options for IPv6 setup. Router mode enables IPv6 directly on the router. Pass-through bridge mode. Your existing configuration is bridged, allowing IPv6 from your ISP to pass through to another device or router. 4 WAN connection type. If you want to set up IPv6 on the router itself, you can configure it directly in the WAN settings. In short, IPv6 can be set up either on the router or pass through depending on your network needs, and your ISP usually provides the necessary details for configuration. You can see the firmware update option on this router. To update, you need to download the specific firmware for your router model from the official website. The hardware version is displayed here, so make sure to download the firmware that matches your hardware version. Once downloaded, you can upload it through this update option to safely update your router's firmware. The backup and restore feature on a router allows you to save and recover your router settings easily. Backup saves your current configuration, Wi-Fi settings, passwords, port forwarding, etc., to a file on your computer. Restore lets you upload a previously saved configuration file to quickly return your router to a specific setup. This is useful when you want to reset the router or migrate settings to a new device without reconfiguring everything manually. Factory Default Restore is a router option that resets your router to its original factory settings. All custom settings, Wi-Fi names, passwords, port forwarding, and other configurations will be erased. After performing a factory reset, the router will return to the state it was in when first purchased. This is useful if your router is not working properly or if you want to start fresh with new configurations. In short, Factory Default Restore completely clears all custom settings and restores the router to its original state. We're now in the Administration menu. From here you can change the router's admin login password. You'll need the current, old, password to do that. Next is Local Management, where you control which devices on your local network are allowed to manage the router. You can grant or revoke management permission to specific devices by selecting them from the router's device list. After that is Remote Management. Enabling this lets you manage the router from outside your network, over the internet. To use it you must have a public, real IP address assigned to your WAN, specify the port number that will be used for remote access, and optionally restrict which external IPs are allowed to connect. Be careful with remote management, only enable it if you really need it, and use a strong admin password plus limited allowed IPs to reduce security risks. System log is a feature on the router that records events and activities happening within the network and the router itself. It shows information about connections, device activity, errors, and system events. Helps in troubleshooting network issues by providing a detailed record of what is happening on the router. Some routers allow you to filter logs by type or date and export logs for later analysis. In short, the system log lets you monitor and track your router's activity and network events. Diagnostics is a router feature that helps you check the health and connectivity of your network. It allows you to test internet connections, such as by using ping or traceroute commands to check if devices or websites are reachable. Helps identify network issues, connection drops, or latency problems. Some routers also provide tools to test LAN and WAN connections directly from the admin panel. In short, Diagnostics helps you troubleshoot and monitor your network to ensure everything is working properly. Time and language. In the language section, besides English, there are several other languages you can choose from according to your preference. Next is time settings, where you can enable automatic time synchronization. When the router is connected to the internet, it will automatically set the correct time. At the bottom, there's daylight saving time, which you can enable if needed. The following option is report, which has multiple features. Normal report. You can remotely generate a report from your router. Scheduled report. You can set a specific time for the router to automatically generate a report every day. After that, there's the LED control option. You can turn off the LEDs entirely if you wish. Additionally, there's night mode. When enabled, all router lights will automatically turn off during the specified night hours so that the router doesn't disturb anyone's sleep. If you enjoy our video, please like and subscribe to our channel and stay connected with us.